it's probably safe to say that when we look around in the garden at this time of year, everything is on the wind down, everything's slowing up. We're into November now, so beginning of November, and most things lose their leaves, the yellowing, the trees. I mean, it looks great, but everything is sort of getting quiet in the garden at this time. Everything in the garden mostly, except this. This is a Brugmansia, or angel's trumpet, as also known as. And for some reason, they're a warm climate plant, and so they like the heat. But for some reason, this seems to have flowered and exploded into flower since the weather has cooled down again. It didn't seem to do so well during our summer when it was pretty warm. It would sort of wilt quite a lot, and the flowers were a bit hit and miss. But since the weather's cooled down and we've kind of come into November and October, this thing has really sort of taken off. I'll just show you the flowers on it at the moment. You can see, and there's loads still to come out as well. See the whole way around the flowers. These are the new flowers coming out here and here. These ones have been out for a while, and these are the ones that are sort of on their way out. You can see there's some bees around. They're pollinating them. But they're an amazing plant to grow, and really easy to grow. Actually, they're not a very difficult plant. The main things with them is that they like loads and loads of water and fertilizer. They're probably one of the most hungriest plants I've ever grown, and they certainly sap it up. The soil can almost be actually waterlogged. They love the moisture so much, which is kind of why I think they struggled in the summer with the heat. You're forever trying to keep up with the moisture thing of them, and then the flowers wouldn't last very long because the heat would make them wilt. But everything on this has exploded in the last couple of months, and they are a late flowering plant, especially here in the southeast of the UK, but really easy to care for. If you want to make more of them, you can literally simply take a green part of the stem like here, and you cut it off, take off all the leaves, stick it in some dirt, and it'll re-root. Keep the temperature warm so that it can put down its roots, but you can make more of these very easy. The soil isn't anything particularly special either. They're not fussy as to where they grow, just keeping it moist and well fertilized. So if you've got any space for something like this, the Brugmansia, I'd definitely recommend it to give that slightly sort of tropical and exotic look to the garden. The flowers, which you can see here, weirdly enough, you smell them during the day. They don't really have much of a fragrance to them, but if you come out of here at night time, the whole area around here just has a really sweet almond fragrance to it. It's a really nice smell, but they only seem to smell it at night. I don't really know why, but they're a great fragrance for the nighttime garden. Their hardiness zone is zone 8, what they call as root hardy, which is what it is here in the UK. If we had a particularly hard winter and you left and you put this out in the ground, most of it potentially would turn to mush and you'd lose it all the way back to the roots. It would grow back from the roots again. However, if you want to try and maintain a larger size with it, then when we first get our first frosts, and you'll tell that because the leaves will wilt off of this, then you can just prune off what has been affected. And what I do is I just lay a tarpaulin or a burlap cover over it on cold nights just to keep the frost off of it, and that seems to do quite fine. It's in a pretty large pot, so moving this thing around in and out of a greenhouse is pretty impossible, so it stays here and it just gets a covering put over it. But yeah, until we get any cold weather, then it stays out here looking good. Take care.